Hi, welcome. Glad you're here. Let's all take a deep breath, right? Some of us are entering the end of our week, so giving yourself a moment to breathe and arrive. Welcome to this space. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jenny Glick. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, a certified sex therapist. I'm a way shower for ladies who need to be shown the way, women, wild women who are learning to rewild themselves, really, getting back into your internal wild, getting back to your nature. So one of the comments that was posted last week in the Facebook space was the question, the pondering, what if this person isn't right for me? Is there someone better for me out there in the world? Is there someone better for me? So I wanted to address that today because it's not an uncommon query for people, but women to have in their relationship. And I encourage you, if you are here in my Facebook space, to please like or comment below on this video so I know that you're here. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop those in. I'm really good about getting back to people, so I will respond. Don't worry. So feel free to do that. So let's talk about this question. Is there someone better for me in the world? Someone better that I should be married to? One of the things that is so important in relationship work from my perspective, and I'm not a minister, a rabbi, I'm not a guru of any kind. I have a lot of letters behind my name. I have a lot of training. I've been doing this work for a very long time. And I also have spent about 30 years in my own spiritual growth and study. And one of the things that many of you already know about me is I really see your relationship as a vehicle for your spiritual and personal evolution, growth, ascension, okay? Because your marriage, your committed relationship will show up in you all kinds of things that you otherwise would never see. Because when you go out into the rest of the big world professionally, people love you, they think you're amazing, and you are. But in relationship with your intimate partner, the person who's the co-parent of your child or children, even if they're adult children, your parents, in those relationships, you will get mirrored back to you all kinds of things that will feel very challenging. And the reason why it's challenging is because it's showing up your limits. It's showing up your edge, what I call your growth edge. So you've grown this far in this curriculum of life. You've grown this far and you've hit an edge. And that growth moment is often the moment that starts showing up things like our scarcity. And don't worry, I'm going to pull this back to what this has to do with, am I married to the right person, or is there someone better than me? So bookmark that. You get taken to your edge, right? So in terms of psychology and how our emotional states work and our thinking patterns work, pretty much everything comes from one of two places emotionally, either love, enoughness, right? Abundance, prosperity, or fear, anger, scarcity, not enough. Okay. I'm really simplifying it here. One of the things that's really important for you to know that most people don't know is when you have a thought, like your thought is there someone better for me? So your thoughts out here, that's how I think of it. Your thoughts out here, and then your actions even further out, right? So your thoughts here, but what's behind the thought are a few things. One is your sponsoring emotional state. What's the emotional state that's sponsoring that thought? What's the emotional state that's informing that question, that's creating that question? Because we could actually ask that question from a loving space. Oh, is there someone in the world that I could be of service to in a better way in relationship? Is there someone in the world who I could grow with more, right? That could actually come from a place of real wide expansion and a sense of completeness. I wrote a post about completeness recently, and I will tag that in this post or on this email, however it is that you're seeing this video, so you can check it out. So it is actually possible to be asking that question from a place of enoughness, right? From my perspective, some people are complete in marriage. They get to a place where they have learned all they need to learn. They've done all the growth work that they need to do. It's just like when you work with a therapist or you're at a job for a particular amount of time and you've gone everywhere that you're going to go. And it's like, you know what? I'm ready for the next level. And this particular structure doesn't provide the next level for me. And I can come at that from a place of love. So get curious about what your sponsoring emotional state is as it pertains to that thought or that question, is there someone better for me? Most likely, what most people do, they're asking that question from a place of scarcity or fear, from a place of not enoughness, this should be better, a place of judgment. And again, it's not that that's bad, it's just important to know that if that's the sponsoring emotional state, I would highly recommend that you pay attention to how often you spend time in that emotional state, that sponsoring emotional state. If you hang out in an emotional state of judgment, of fear, of not enoughness, right? If that's what's sponsoring your question, I don't think he or she is enough for me. I could do better. There's got to be somebody who could help make my life easier. I would encourage you to look at, where are you hard on yourself? Where do you live in scarcity or not enoughness with your health, with your wealth, with how you treat yourself, with self-esteem? Do you self-terrorize? Those of you who've been around here a while know I talk about self-terrorizing a lot. Beat yourself up, inner bully, right? That's a different sponsoring emotional state. Make sense? So the question, is there someone better for me, is a perfectly fine question. Just like the question, should I get a divorce? Perfectly fine question. But if you're not able to back it up and see what is sponsoring that question, then in my perspective, it's not useful to even engage with the question. The work that I do with women, it's really depth-oriented work. It's why I don't put out a bunch of tips and tricks for things, because your sponsoring emotional state is everything. That's your identity. It's everything. We can make tweaks out here, right? In what it is that you say and what you do out here. But if your sponsoring emotional state, if your emotional identity, if your frequency, if what you're broadcasting internally is, this isn't going to work, this isn't enough, I'm not enough, nothing's ever going to change, why bother, I don't deserve to be loved, nobody's going to be good enough, why did I end up with this loser, whatever, right? That is what you're marinating in 24/7. That's the part that requires shifting, right? And if that part is not addressed, none of the other stuff is going to shift. So it's really important when we talk about transformation, and I know that there's so much out there about transform and change and do this and amazing, great. And if you're not looking at what's happening really deep underneath, what's happening before the thought, before what you say, then you show up and you say the thing, but you're just going to default back to the old pattern, because what's sponsoring everything, that old emotional state, what I call your 1.0 programming, man, that's intact. And until you start shifting that and practicing that shift, then, it's heartbreaking, but it's just how we learn, But I watch people, you're just out here, my metaphor is you're moving furniture around a burning house. It doesn't matter where you put the sofa, the house is on fire. You got to put the fire out on the walls first. And that's the fire out here, whatever is burning all that fear and scarcity and worry and anxiety. You have to start there. So I implore you to start paying attention to what emotional state is sponsoring anything in your life, especially when you feel a little agitated or when you feel stuck or when you feel like you don't know what to do next. You don't know where to go next. Next week, I'm going to be offering a free mini training on how to shift your beliefs, because your beliefs are part of this sponsoring emotional state, and they are everything. They are everything. And so I have about a 15-minute video training and a handout for you if you're interested. I will put out some information next week if you're interested in that. And that's just a free thing that I'm offering for you all. So I should be ready to share that with you next week. Thank you so much for hanging out here. If you're interested in potentially working with me or hearing about some of the programs that I have, I help women move from point A to point B to get to this place where we call it the love shack, where you get to live from this 2.0 emotional state that is sponsoring what you do. That's a state of ease, calm, groundedness, love, because that's what love is. And we often say, I want love out there, but I want this thing to change in order for me to feel this thing here, right? I want to have this out here, but here's the big secret. You have to be it first in order to have it. If you're not being it, sponsoring emotional state, identity, 2.0 self, you can never have it, ever. It doesn't work that way. You have to start here. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can DM me, email me, easy to get in touch with, and happy to answer any questions that you might have. I'll ask you a few questions because I don't work with everybody. What I do isn't a good fit for everyone. So I want to make sure that we're a great fit. And if we are, we can get started. Thanks so much for being here. Hope you are taking really good care of yourself and your heart. And I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.